Matt D'Avella's movie Minimalism was my first introduction to the minimalist movement. And somewhere between his bicep curls, trying to get The Rock on his podcast,
The Rock tweeted at me,
and blasting coffee beans all over his new studio, I learned a lot about living like a minimalist from Matt's videos.
I don't know what I expected to happen.
Hi, my name is Peter, and if you're new here, I make videos about minimalism and how to live a mindful life. So here are 7 minimalist lessons I learned from Matt D'Avella. You can be a minimalist and normal. When I first got into minimalism, I thought it meant adopting a specific aesthetic. White walls, modern furniture, lots of space, and very few possessions. But Matt flipped that idea on its head for me. Here was a normal-looking guy living in a clean and organized yet ordinary apartment who made it clear that minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's about getting your together. I mean, he's got 24 t-shirts.
Wake up, people! This guy's got 24 t-shirts. There's no way that he could be a minimalist.
So Matt's version of minimalism is not an extreme lifestyle. It's less about owning nothing and more about getting clear on your priorities.
Minimalism at its core is about intentionality. It's about making conscious decisions about how we live our lives, the things that we consume and buy, and how we lead our lives.
That resonates with me. Minimalism is not a numbers game. It's not about having less for the sake of it, but more about creating space for what's truly important. And with less stuff around me, I can see more clearly what that is. So stuff isn't the enemy. I tried extreme minimalism for a week and it sucked. Anyone who says you can do without a sofa and a bed at home must secretly be made of rubber, because my spine did not agree with that lifestyle. But now I'm much more intentional about my purchasing decisions. Before, I would spend a lot of money on branded clothes, expensive kitchenware, or impulse purchases like an Xbox and 4 video games that I only used once. I justified it by telling myself, I work so hard, I deserve this. But in reality, it was just a form of retail therapy. Through Matt's videos, I learned how to declutter much of what I owned, appreciate the things that I decided to keep, and be more intentional about what I buy. When I buy something these days, I go for quality. It may cost a bit more, but I found that being cheap often backfires. Take this suitcase I bought 3 years ago, for example. In the past, I always had cheap suitcases that would fall apart or had broken zippers. So when it was time to buy a new one, I didn't immediately go out to get the first suitcase I could find. I wanted something durable that would last a long time. I did a ton of research, thought it over, and ultimately chose this Samsonite suitcase. It wasn't the cheapest, but 3 years later, I'm still super happy with that decision. No screens in bed. One of Matt's 4 rules for digital minimalism is no screens in bed. Now, when I worked as a lawyer, checking my emails on my BlackBerry was often the last thing I would do before going to sleep. That habit, combined with a racing mind caused by drinking too much coffee during the day, practically guaranteed that it would take at least an hour before I could fall asleep. And in the morning, grabbing my phone was the first thing I'd do to check those emails again. And that immediately put me into stress mode. In his book Willpower Doesn't Work, Benjamin Hardy writes that if you don't shape your environment will shape you. So that means that the environment you're in should align with the behavior you're trying to encourage. And in the bedroom, that means no TV and no screens. Everything should support a good sleep. So in my bedroom, everything is designed with this in mind. The colors are white or neutral and there's no TV. I don't check my phone in bed and it's on airplane mode during the night. The only exception I make is listening to podcasts. I enjoy listening to them lying down and with my eyes closed because that relaxes me before going to sleep. And I don't listen to business podcasts. Instead, I listen to podcasts with stories that put a smile on my face or that just take my mind off the worries of the day. Podcasts like This American Life or 99% Invisible. In the morning, I don't check my phone when I wake up. Instead, I wash my face, get dressed and go for a long walk to, as we say in Dutch, een frisse neus te halen, to fetch a fresh nose. I only check my phone once I return home. Minimalism is not a religion. Some people take minimalism way too seriously.
I think it's great that minimalism has changed your life. It certainly has changed mine. But at the end of the day, I think we need to stop judging people. We should never really force minimalism on people. We should never judge people for the decisions that they're making. We need to do what's right for us. We need to make decisions that are going to make us happy, and then just be there to support our family and friends when they need us.
I agree. We shouldn't be quick to judge people. even if they're trying something like crystal meth for 30 days.
So Natalie and I have been doing meth for 2 weeks now.
Hello, Bubbles.
I definitely am feeling some effects from it. I feel like a MILF. It's making me much more manic.
I have never done meth. I will never do meth.
Okay, so maybe meth is slightly more controversial than minimalism. But the point remains, if you're running around telling everyone they need to throw out all their belongings, it's like you've joined a cult where the leader is your empty closet.
Please place your right hand on nothing. By order of the local chapter 536 of the Fraternal Order of Minimalist, I now declare you a minimalist. Wait, is that a bracelet?
Oh, this is just a bracelet that my mom gave me.
You can leave. Get out. Next.
It can be tempting to start preaching the gospel of minimalism when you're in your honeymoon phase. I was so excited when I first got started that I would bring it up left and right. But I quickly realized that everyone is on their own journey. And for many, minimalism isn't something they're ever going to be interested in. And that's okay. My decision to become a minimalist was my personal choice. If others are curious and show interest in it because they see it benefits me, that's great. But I won't push it on them. The worst part is minimalists judging each other. Like, oh, you have 6 forks, or your walls aren't wide enough. You are not a real minimalist. It reminds me of an outspoken vegan I once knew. We're at the yoga school after class, and in the cafeteria they were handing out little pieces of rolled up omelette on a toothpick. Now, a friend of mine had recently given up meat under the influence of our vegan friend, but he didn't say no to a piece of free omelette. So he took the omelette, and as he was about to put it into his mouth, our vegan friend walked in, looked horrified, and said, "Baby chick killer." And I was like, really? He met you more than halfway, yet you're shaming him publicly? Don't be like that. Minimalism has minimal rules. It's what you make of it. You can cherry pick. What works for one person may not work for you. A single person in their 20s has different wants and needs than a parent of 3. And that's okay. Minimalism is a lifestyle that can help them both. It's not restrictive. Minimalism is not a doctrine, but a tool to create more space, both physically and mentally, so you can focus more on the things that you truly care about. Minimalism is not a magic bullet. A decade ago, I quit my stressful job as a lawyer to pursue my dream of traveling the world for 1 year and to rethink my career. I didn't want to go back into law. After that, I tried different ways of making money, but it was hard, and I felt like a failure for leaving behind this well-paying job. I once heard someone say that shooting for the moon is great, but there are many moons in the universe, and you want to make sure the moon you're shooting for is your own. So I tried different things, but I often felt confused. I felt like I was standing at a crossroads with different directions to choose from, which all seemed viable from where I stood, but I couldn't pursue them all. Going in one direction would mean saying no to other directions. And how would I know that this was the best option to choose?
This is not a magic bullet. Minimalism isn't going to fix all your problems. But I can say with absolute certainty that I wouldn't be where I am today without minimalism and without asking these really deep questions about what I want out of life.
Matt's videos about minimalism helped me redefine my values and rethink what success means to me. In this digital age, many of us are drinking from the fire hose of information. It's coming in so quickly and in such volume. And the message is pretty consistent. You're only a success if you're rich, beautiful, or powerful. Yet Matt shared how he saw film director Tom Shadyac talk about moving into a tiny house and getting rid of most of his things.
It blew my mind. I didn't know that this was an option. Wait, so you're telling me I can intentionally get rid of my stuff? I just don't need to keep accumulating stuff over time?
Matt then became a minimalist and paid off $117,000 in study loans in just 4 years. This was also eye-opening to me. It was as if I were able to start with a blank canvas again, like the wall behind me, and make more intentional decisions about what to paint on at this time. So I asked myself, what makes a good life? It was no longer about acquiring things or achieving a certain status in society. Money is important because even though it doesn't solve all problems, it does solve money problems. But money isn't the end-all be-all. And I realized that to me, success is having the time, freedom, means, and calm state of mind to do the things I really care about. It can be simple things like losing myself in a novel, being in control of my own work hours so I can choose to go on a hike on a Tuesday afternoon, or going for dinner with a good friend and being able to really listen to them and give them my full attention. It's also about being able to make a full-time living doing work I'm passionate about, which eventually led me to start my own YouTube channel. But with that said, minimalism is not a panacea. It's not a magic bullet that solves all my problems. It didn't protect me from doubts, anxiety, or experiencing painful moments like having to move out of my apartment or losing my job a few years ago. But I will say that minimalism has given me the mental clarity to deal with those situations in a better way. What I found is that an organized space creates headspace, and that helped me to discern between what matters most and what has a lower priority. Delete social media from your phone. So when Matt did a 30-day social media detox, he deleted all social media apps from his phone.
I knew without taking extreme measures, I would slip back into my old routines and check my phone frequently throughout the day. So I deleted all social media apps from my phone.
He shared that he experienced benefits like comparing himself to others less often, reclaiming his time, and better focus. Like Matt, I know that if I have to rely on willpower only, I'll get nowhere. Years ago, checking social media was my default form of procrastination, mostly Facebook and Instagram. I never got into TikTok or Twitter. But as I read more about the negative effects of extended social media use on your mental state, I started to notice that I often felt worse after I'd spent some time on the apps. I'd feel bad about my boring life after seeing someone's travel pictures or financial success. Or I would see someone looking all intellectual and wonder, why can't I stare into the distance like that? I also read Cole Newport's book Digital Minimalism, which confirmed the feeling I had that my social media use wasn't doing me much good. So I deleted all social media apps from my phone and I've never looked back.
The challenge you'll likely find is that once you delete social media from your phone, you'll immediately replace it with something else, whether it's Reddit, the news, a video game, another distracting app. It's like whack-a-mole for apps. And so to prevent this from happening, the best thing that I've found to do is to actually increase your distance from your phone.
I do this too. I'll put my phone in a drawer, leave it in my backpack, or I'll even place it in another room while I'm working in my office.
If you want to focus or show others that you're fully present with them, put your phone away. If you're trying to focus and you leave...
If I do have it next to me, I tend to keep it on airplane mode and only turn it off during breaks. What helps is that I don't need to be constantly available on my phone for business, so that's convenient. I recently bought an iPad mini, and it has quickly become my go-to media consumption device, so there's even less reason to be on my phone. And no, before you throw that in my face, I do not have any social media apps installed on my iPad. I use it to read longer articles that I save to Instapaper, as well as books. I'm currently reading Killing Rage about Eamon Collins' time in the IRA. I also reconnected with my love for comics. When I was young, I had a phase where I would go to the local library after school and devour all the comics there. I'm enjoying reading Destination Moon at the moment, one of the adventures of Tintin. It's okay to take a break.
Hey guys, it's Matt D'Avella, and I'm not dead. I'm back, making YouTube videos again.
After uploading consistently for years, Matt disappeared from YouTube and didn't publish a video for 8 months. I did the same except for 10 months. And like Matt, there isn't one single reason that I can point to.
I was talking to my brother recently, who's a pilot in the Air Force, and he was talking about how the fact that when a plane crashes, it's rarely because of one thing. It's because multiple things go wrong at the same exact time. Any one of these things at one time is manageable, but often when these things happen at the same time, that's when you run into issues.
For Matt, it was adjusting to life as a dad, feeling trapped by his business, starting over in a new country, and getting bored with work. For me, it was not having a home base, health struggles, feeling trapped by my niece, and financial concerns. I hadn't intended to take such a long break, and when I started planning my return, I was worried that my audience was gone and my channel was dead. What helped was reading Matt's newsletters, which he started writing again in 2024. He explained that he quit making videos because he wasn't happy anymore. He felt held back by labels like YouTuber and Minimalist, as well as by the pressure to make money to pay his team. Knowing that a content creator with a channel much bigger than mine also took time to recenter and recalibrate, and ultimately came back to YouTube, was inspiring. More than anything, we're people. And sometimes that means you need to hit the pause button and take a break, without knowing how long it's going to take. And that's okay. The excitement fades, but the value remains. Matt shared how he still remembers the first week he discovered minimalism.
To say it changed my life would be, well, it wouldn't be an understatement or an overstatement. I would say it was an accurate statement. But that excitement actually faded over time. And eventually, minimalism became the new normal. And what I realized was that's completely okay. Because as the excitement fades, that value still remains.
I went through a similar process during my minimalist journey. For me, it started years ago when I got my landlord's permission to replace the 2 old sofas in my furnished apartment with 1 new sofa. I was only using 1 and it was really uncomfortable. Sitting on my new sofa, I decided to go for a fresh start and paint the walls to remove the dirt and stains left behind by the old sofas. That's when minimalism really entered my life. I had to put all my stuff in boxes and store the clutter away so the walls could be painted. When I was done, I was super excited. The apartment felt so fresh, so light, so spacious. I didn't unpack the boxes for weeks. And during the time, I experienced a sense of mental clarity. The empty space literally created headspace. Around the same time, I was introduced to minimalism through the Netflix documentary Minimalism, which Matt directed. And it struck a chord with me. I decided to embrace the minimalist lifestyle by decluttering a lot of my possessions, paring down, donating items, and keeping only the things I needed or cared about. To make sure this wouldn't just fizzle out after a month, I also decided to start this YouTube channel. Minimalism didn't just create more space in my home, it also gave me focus. I'd always been on this trajectory of go to school, go to university, get a job, get a raise, and hopefully be rich one day. But minimalism changed my perspective on how I define success. What truly makes me happy isn't a mansion or an expensive sports car. Beyond having my basic needs met, it's having control over how I spend my time, quality moments with loved ones, meaningful experiences, and doing work that challenges me and also allows me to have a positive impact on others. Minimalism also provided me with a path to getting there. By cutting down my expenses and saving part of my income, I was able to build a financial buffer that allowed me to have more control over my time and live life on my own terms. A lot has changed in my life since then. I had to leave my minimalist apartment when my landlord decided to sell it. I traveled around for a while, staying in not-so-minimal apartments in different countries, and sometime later, my girlfriend, who's not as into minimalism as me, and I moved in together. Similar to Matt, my excitement about minimalism began to fade somewhat over time. But that's okay, because the value I gained from becoming a minimalist has remained. I'm not a rigid minimalist. I don't count how many spoons we have, and I don't go around constantly looking for clutter to clean up. Although I have my moments of weakness. My girlfriend will call me out on it.
Peter! You are not the clutter police, okay?
What has stayed though is my changed perspective on what success means to me, how I stay organized, and how I'm more intentional about what I spend my money on. I talk more about that in my video What Success Means to Me as a Minimalist, which you can watch right here. So thanks Matt for all the inspiration, and I'm really happy to see that you've returned to YouTube. And to everyone else, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.
Peter! Who are you, the clutter police? That was way too fun. No, don't do my work. Oh my god, who are you, the clutter police? Well, I could keep going.
Can you be serious? It's a serious talking recording.
Right.
Ready?
Peter! You are not the clutter police, okay?
Okay.
Okay.